Start when you tell me we're ready.
You gonna slide around, Peter? Or?
I will.
Yes.
Mute.
I'm desperate to finish this.
Yep.
Did you mute your computer? It is muted. Can you hit that X? Hit that X. Does that help? Nope. Hit the X on that too. Testing, testing. Better? All right. So it's 6:01, and I'm calling the Select Board meeting of May 23rd, 2023 to order. This is a hybrid meeting, and in attendance are myself, Diane Bucco,
Peter Clay?
Gary Cheeseman.
and we have a few people in the audience, and Town Administrator Steve Poulos and Minute Taker Catherine Tinsley. So I think we're going to start today with a National Grid petition for a joint or identical pole location, a poll hearing. Careful, careful. So do we have National Grid ready to go?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Mr. Kazadi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hi.
I'll let you
I'm good.
speak.
Okay, so my name is Mike Pizzotti, and I'm representing National Grid at 44 River Street in Beverly. And for this job, we're just petitioning to relocate pole 121 approximately 20 feet closer to existing pole 122.
Okay. Any questions on that?
And the purpose of the move? I
And-
mean,
Yeah.
why?
Oh, yep. So yeah, so the span between pole 122 and 121 is really long, and we're moving the pole closer to 122 so we can remove the slack on our overhead lines to make it safer.
Sounds very reasonable to me. Any other questions? No questions? Do we vote on this?
Yeah.
Or we just give approval?
Before you vote, you should have open up for public comment.
Right.
Open up for
Yeah.
public comment. Thank you very much. Does anybody on the Zoom or in the house have any comment on the move of a pole on Burley Street, Maple Street and Burley Street? I see no one wants to speak here. No one wants to speak on the Zoom. So do we vote?
Yeah.
Do we vote to approve?
Yeah.
So would you like to make a motion to approve
I motion that we approve the pole move
at the intersection of Maple and Burley?
at the intersection of Maple and Burley.
Second?
Any comments?
No?
The vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unbelievably, we're unanimous on that, okay. Mr. Casati, do we need to do anything else?
That is it. Nope. Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Okay.
So- Do we now wait until 6:30?
Recess. That's how it's published.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
There's a note, all times are estimated.
All times are
Yeah,
estimated.
All right.
So I think,
Maybe get through the
can
appointment?
we go through the reports? And we'll come back at public input at 6:30? Does that sound okay to you? Okay. So, town administrator report. I think you go first, right?
So This is a little bit of the change in the agenda, so I'm going to do some announcements and also my updates. So I will start first with announcements. Just want to talk about the Memorial Day activities, Monday, May 29th, 2023, at 10 a.m. at the Cheeseman Memorial at Pingree Park. Then at 11 a.m., there will be the laying of the wreaths at Civil War Monument and Veterans Memorial. At 11:10 a.m., the parade will start. From the parade to the Main Street Cemetery begins. The parade will form on the road between the Tea House and the Civil War Monument. At 10:45 a.m., the ceremony begins by the flagpole in the cemetery. Representative Jerry Parasillo will be there as the speaker. And note that refreshments will be available at the cemetery after the ceremony. Flag Day is June 14th. So in memory of Flag Day, we're doing a flag disposal day, so you can bring your tattered, torn, and worn out flags to Pingree Park on June 14th at 6 p.m. The Veterans Committee of Wenham will dispose of your flag properly by burning it in a controlled way. The time begins with a brief ceremony about the flag. If you're unable to attend and you would like to properly dispose of a flag, beginning on May 15th, the flags can be dropped at either the Wenham Police or the Wenham Firehouse. Any questions can be addressed to Dean Peterson or the Select Board's office, and we can either answer the question or direct you to the appropriate person. We have several openings in boards and committees. So if you have any interest in getting involved in your local government, please visit www.wenhamma.gov/volunteer, and we have the openings updated. And we have a special town election. It is Tuesday, June 27th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. It is for the select board going from 3 seats to 5 seats. The 2 additional seats, there'll be one for 3 years, one for 2 years. And the current race is Deirdre Parati. It is running for the 3-year seat, and a contested race between Pat Waddell and Bed Timon will be running for the 2-year seat. Then moving on to my updates, I thought I'd just go over the Route 97. So people have probably seen them out there. We have the contractor brought with them two signboards, and we've secured an additional 2 signboards. So we have all the updates are being broadcasted live on those as we become aware. We update those boards so that folks know what's going on. The week of 5/22, which is this week, it will be the ADA ramp installations and drainage structure adjustments, and possible beginning of the roadway pavement may begin this week. If not, it is expected to conclude during the week of the 30th. Again, this is weather permitting, and any unforeseen issues may arise, or weather may push these dates back. So I mean, just in the same theme as we had National Grid on to move the pole that we gave the update about a month ago, saying about the pole right across from Town Hall here. That was the double pole that was taking up the entire sidewalk. We gave an estimation in the public meeting of approximately 18 months. Well, that's been fixed, so it didn't take anywhere as close to the 18 months that we were anticipating. It took about 3 to 4 weeks since we last updated, so that's a good thing. And so the electors of the town was in a contract, an energy contract, to purchase its electricity, and so we've been following that closely. And so it was set to expire last week, and so we've been looking at longer term contracts, 2-3 years, 1 year, all in the tune to about 30 to 40% increase over the current contract, going to the rate at National Grid, going to current market rate would be about 39%. Was contacted last week on Friday with an offer to enter a 7-month contract at a 10% increase. So we opted to do that. It's really the most attractive contract that we've seen, and at least it stabilizes our expenses through the summer and into the early winter months. And we'll revisit that. Well, we're continuously looking, and we can, we have the option to extend or change the contract, but, at least it buys us out till January of '24. And with that, I know we get a lot of questions about the community choice aggregate. That's an electric program that the state runs that can pair residents with clean or alternative sources of energy. It pairs you up with, essentially a portfolio of energy that suits your needs and preferences. We have been trying to get in that program since September. However, we did receive an email from the gentleman that operates it for the state, saying that they've stopped taking any new potential clients, and essentially the DPU, Department of Public Utilities, that program is on hold, and they're waiting for the new administration to come in and either alter staffing so that we can get into the program, or they just have a lot going on, and essentially just they don't have the staff to meet the demand, and something's got to give on that if they want to continue to offer that to the communities. And I believe that is all with my updates tonight.
Awesome. Any reports from select board members?
I'm on the agenda twice.
So we'll hear from you already.
And I'll just mention the Maple Woods project, and a CZIC will be at the COA Thursday, 10 to noon, for anybody that wants information on Maple Woods or assistance in filling out the paperwork.
This Thursday.
This Thursday, and then 3 June, there'll be a session, and we'll be handling at the library. So, great opportunity for June 1st at the library, 6 p.m. And great opportunity for Wenham citizens to.
June 1st, so is it also on June 3rd? Because you said June 3rd.
The website said June 1st.
June
All right.
1st.
Very well.
So,
Anyhow, this Thursday is your next opportunity to get help.
at the COA.
Yes.
The COA. Amazing opportunity, no one wants to miss that. So I had a bunch of things, but you guys all said them. So Flag Day is sponsored by, I think, the Vets Committee and the Boy Scouts together, doing that on the 14th. Maple Woods, we talked about, the election you spoke about. I just wanted to let everybody know that vote by mail applications are probably available as of now, and we're gonna be discussing some early voting in-person times later on today. Memorial Day activities that Steve spoke about, the board needs to think about who wants to speak. I spoke to Dean from the Vets Committee. There'll be a proclamation to read, and there's also a space for one of us to introduce Representative Parasella. So I didn't know if either of you were interested.
I think that honor should go to the chair.
Well, there's 2 things to read, thank you very much, but there's 2 things, so we can share.
All right,
I
then the
think
vice
we'll-
chair, I guess I got to say something.
So would you like to do the proclamation or introduce Jerry?
I'll do the proclamation, please.
Proclamation, okay. So I'll put you in touch with Dean, he can tweak it a little bit so you don't have to read the whole thing. And I'll introduce Jerry. And then, just as a recap from our workshop on Friday, we talked a lot about our roles and our responsibilities. We got started on all that, but we also came up with what I think are 3 really good ideas for outreach to different portions of the community. So for our public, for the residents, we were gonna offer a select board hour, rotate ourselves around, on Mondays from 5 to 6, starting the week after, like June 5th. Does that work for you?
Yeah, because you got Memorial Day, so that's out.
Memorial Day is
yeah,
next Friday, so June 5th we'll start that. And I
At the
thought,
library, right?
no, we were gonna do it here. Did we want to go to the library? I thought we were gonna do it here.
Okay.
Did you
Yeah.
want to switch it to the
Mm.
library?
Discussion was here because we talked about the,
If that's what we said, then.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
said, but
Yeah.
if you want to switch it, we can talk about that too. But we can post it on the website, we'll get the
Right.
information, and then, who wants to start? Just get the first 3 dates going.
Can do. 5th?
Gary? You want the, I don't know what the
Sure.
dates are.
12th?
The 12th is Pete. That leaves me with 6/19.
19?
Oh, that's my dad's birthday. Oh, that's Juneteenth. We have something else
Yeah,
going on
something
there,
else
so
then.
that's not, we're not gonna have it that week.
All right,
So then it brings us down to
26?
the 26th, 6/26, that'll be me. Okay, and then we'll just rotate like that if we need to make a change. We're kind of interchangeable, so I think that's one thing for our residents. We also would like to invite all the committees, boards, and departments to come to our meetings, to sign up on any date that we have a meeting from June 6th through December 19th, see how many we can get in. Maybe they can present that 10, 15 minutes, what they're doing, what's going on, what questions they might have, or information for us. So I would like to invite and actually encourage all the committees and boards and departments to reach out to Steve's office and pick a date. Right?
Yep.
Get to hear from everybody. And then the last piece was the all-town committee meeting that we thought would be a way to get everybody together. And to do that, to either have an educational piece and/or a speaker. So our first one will be scheduled for July 12th from 9 to 12. Yes, it's the morning, might not work for some people. Some people might be away, we'll never get everybody anyway. But we can alternate these type of things. So we're gonna start with the Inspector General on July 12th, and I will start a draft memo to give to Steve to fix up, make it more appropriate to send out to everybody. I think that's all I had. Yeah. So now we're here at 6:17, still not 6:30 yet, so let's go to correspondence. We got a letter from the Condominium Association in the Boulders. Am I going too fast?
No?
No, okay, thank you. With respect to the proposal for the skate park at Pingree Park. I thought it was good that they wrote to us and gave us their opinions, and I think the project is still in the beginning stages, the investigative stages, research, and that we'll just keep this as
So just another question.
yeah.
Why isn't that in front of the planning board?
The skateboard park, why isn't it in front of the planning board?
Isn't.
Why, that's what I meant. So far, it's not really anywhere yet. I think they're
Right.
still working on the ideas, seeing if it's even,
But when they come
Acceptable.
forward with an actual plan, I think that, I mean,
does that go to the planning board prior to the select board?
we were looking at west of Wenham Park.
Probably open space too. I think when we discussed, we wanted to have a more comprehensive review of, you know, instead of just placing the skate park there, to have
Right.
kind of a plan for the park. You know, so it should go before probably all the appropriate boards and make sure that, you know, this fits in the plan, or if we want to do a study first, or however.
So I thought that they brought it to us just to see if they, you know, if we weren't gonna just shoot them right down. And I don't think we did. We said, it sounds interesting, let's see what you can do, and I think they're going back to, their gang to try to figure it out.
So did you empty and reload and run? Yeah, they're running them right now. Great, thank you. I was pleasantly surprised. What? I said I was pleasantly surprised.
Okay. So should this letter be shared with that group, with Sean Timmons?
Well, I think what we heard was the concept, but I think the letter sits with Steve until we get a town plan to
To go
look,
forward?
you know, park-wide, as you
Mhm.
say, you know, what is the full master plan for recreation in the town?
Yeah. Okay. It was good that they reached out. I think, it's good to know. Check it right off. Let's go to early voting dates. As I was looking at the early voting dates that were proposed, 2 early voting days during normal business hours, which is 8 AM to 7 PM on Tuesday, June 20th, and Wednesday, June 21st. Tuesday, June 20th is a select board meeting in here, so you can't really have early voting in here. Is that where they were planning on having early voting?
I believe that is.
Or just, do they have to have the full hours there?
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's up to them, but they could
Yeah.
certainly have some booths up. They could have a booth or so out in the hallway and do it out there during the select board meeting, right? I mean, I have no problem if they want to do the early voting. I think that's great. I just think they shouldn't plan on being in here during our meeting. Is that true with you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and then 27.
But we need a vote on that one?
Yes,
Yep.
yep. So who's the motion maker?
So I move that we accept
There is one.
that the Wenham Select Board adopt the early voting hours as proposed for the June 27th, 2023 special town election,
With the caveat that they're not in here
with the caveat that they're not actually in the Select Board room
on that Tuesday from 5 to 7, right?
on that Tuesday from 5 to 7.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? All right, let's vote.
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. That's unanimous, early voting in person. But let's remember, you can also vote by mail if you're gonna be on vacation or away. You can vote in person right now, absentees. What's next?
You can jump to the appointments and. that
You
would
wanna
get
go
us
to
six-
appointments?
That would probably get you to 6:30 or so.
Do we literally have to name every single
Yes.
one of these?
We do.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna jump to J,
Yep.
the town appointments. And I think you should just, when you need to appoint, do that whole section there.
You can
Just
do
read all the names.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
names
Yep.
and their position.
Position and name, and then, yeah.
Motion, move to appoint James R. Reynolds, ADA Coordinator, Stephen Kavanaugh, Animal Control, Stephen Kavanaugh, Indigenous Animal Control, Richard Maloney, Building Inspector, E. Peter Swindell, Building Inspector Assistant, Keith Carter, Burial Agent, William Wilson, Cape Ann Veterans Association, David A. O'Leary, Constable, Scott R. James, Constable, Stephen B. Kavanaugh, Emergency Management Director, Kevin DiNapoli, Emergency Management Co-Director, Jeff Baxter, Emergency Management Deputy Training Coordinator, Jason Lucanti, Emergency Management Inventory Control Specialist, Richard Maloney, Fence Viewer, Jamie Colon, Finance Director, Town Accountant, Dennis Kern, Inspector of Wires, Dave Keenan, Assistant Inspector of Wires, Jason Lucanti, Liquor Agent, Gay W. Rowland, Lumber Surveyor and Measurer of Wood and Bark, Margaret R. Hoffman, Metropolitan Area Planning Council, Jeffrey Baxter, Oil Burner Inspector, Jamie Cologne, Parking Clerk, Kevin Dash, Plumbing and Gas Inspector, David Perrine, Assistant Plumbing and Gas Inspector, Michelle Princey, Police Matron, Kirsten Alexander, Records Access Officer, Winslow A. Mulry, Tree Warden and Superintendent of Mothwork, KP Law Town Council, Belinda Young, Treasurer Collector,
I'll second that list.
As,
for a term beginning July 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
any discussion? Vote.
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Thank you all for your work.
Then we keep going, right?
Yeah, let's do another one.
All right.
Police.
Motion, move to appoint Police Chief Kevin J. DiNapoli and Deputy Chief Jason Lucanti for a term beginning July 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Vote.
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes.
Motion, move to appoint Police Sergeants Michael J.
Mrs.
Missy, David T. Marsh for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Second.
Discussion, votes.
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
Move to appoint Police Sergeant Chad P. Labrie for a term beginning June 5th, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Nope. Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Also unanimous.
Move to appoint Police Full-Time Patrol Officer John P. Phillips, Bart B. Connors, Michelle DePrinci, Keegan O'Donnell, Matthew Krikorian, Wesley S. Isidoro for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
Move to appoint Police Full-Time Patrol Officer Tyler Selwa for a term beginning July 3rd, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
Motion to appoint Police Part-Time Officer Richard J. Sherry, Brian J. Pratt, Christopher T. Sanborn, Stephen T. Farinato, David R. Fowry, Lawrence M. Nestor, John C. Freitas, Rennie Perez, Kevin D. Kelly for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes.
All righty.
It's unanimous. You want to take a break and go back? It's just about 6:30, or you want to finish the fire?
Let's just get
Finish
it
the
out.
fire? All right.
Move to appoint Fire Chief Stephen B. Kavanaugh, Forest Warden Stephen B. Kavanaugh, Deputy Chief/Fire Prevention Officer Jeffrey W. Baxter, Oil Burner Inspector Jeffrey W. Baxter, Call Deputy Chief Daniel C. Sullivan, Firefighter Call Captain John H. Joyce for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
All righty. Move to appoint Call Lieutenant Michael T. Binns, Gary P. Blaney, Sean P. McCarthy, Anthony C. Nickus for a term beginning July 1st, 2023, ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
Move to appoint call fighters Matthew D. Bean, Richard C. Bertoni, Denzel Boucher, Robert Y. Gallinelli, Milton A. Gattro, Marissa K. Mead, Ronnie Scott Owens, Michael D. Schroeder, John C. Ward for a term beginning July 1st, 2023, ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes.
Move to appoint call provisional firefighters Michael F. Burke, James M. Calitri, Les W. Kernan, Sean McCarron, Ellis E. Mimo, John D. O'Grady, Stephen L. Ray, Matt J. Dickman, Cole P. Sampson, Joshua Zabilski, Richard R. Delgado for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous.
Motion, move to appoint EMT operator Charles G. Hoffman for a term beginning July 1st, 2023 and ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Is that a new position?
Yes.
EMT operator?
That is.
It is. Awesome. Any vote?
Gary, yes.
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Unanimous. So all those appointments, so you all know, are one-year terms, so we get to do them every year. And everybody's name who was mentioned needs to go to the town clerk and get sworn in, make sure they do their conflict of interest, state ethics. So, a lot of talking. Lucky you're on the schedule a couple times today, Pete. Thank you very much. All right, let's go backwards. Public comment. It's 6:30. Is anybody in the room that would like to speak? No? Is anyone on Zoom that would like to speak? I'm quiet there, so I'm gonna go moving on. All right. So at this point, We are on a emergency management team presentation to discuss updates and future timeline in the emergency management plan process. And it looks like Mr. Stephen B. Kavanaugh is gonna speak to us from the little table.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we were tasked recently to come up with, first part of our process was making job descriptions for the emergency management. I'm the director. Chief Kevin DiNapoli is the emergency management deputy director. Deputy Chief Jason Lucatoni is the emergency management inventory coordinator. And Deputy Chief Jeffrey Baxter is the emergency management training specialist. We all collaboratively worked on these job descriptions and created them, which you have in front of you now. And it was quite a little process. So our plan moving ahead is we're setting up monthly meetings. The document that we have is from 2012 and is a pretty large document. So at the meetings, we're gonna start going through page by page because our needs since 2012 have changed. So we're gonna change what page has to be changed will be changed. And as a timeline, we're looking at anywhere from 6 months to 12 months because there's several hundred pages in the document. So hopefully that'll be completed and we can present that.
Any questions?
On the same timeline, are we doing the inventory of equipment as well?
Yes, we're doing everything. It's quite a process. So a lot of our inventory has expired, and we're actually going to be looking at the next budget to replace some of that for emergency management.
Equipment-wise, you're talking about the stuff downstairs in the basement?
Oh,
the
yeah,
stuffs and
like at the
equipment?
school and stuff, like
We store at the
cots.
bottom of the school, but we store stuff down here too.
Yep, we also have trailers that we store stuff in,
Okay.
and it's just stuff like toothpaste, stuff like that. The stuff that you have to have if there's a major emergency. Food.
And who developed the book we have now, the 2012?
Fire and police did it before, along with, you get some help with FEMA and MEMA, so that helps out a lot. And during an emergency, those people, we are gonna be calling on them. And it's a good setup, once everything's in place.
Do you reach out to Homeland Security?
We could, absolutely. Yeah, it's all listed in the book, so.
It's in the book too? I had another question, but I can't remember what it was.
Any other questions?
It's gone now. You guys have?
We'll be back to present more, so,
Okay. And you're meeting monthly? Is that the
Yes.
plan? Bit by bit together?
yeah.
Perfect. I don't know. Can you four work together all right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kevin might be a little problem.
Yeah.
Always on here.
He's not on, so I can talk about Kevin. That's great. All right. I don't think you need a vote or anything from us.
No.
We're just happy that
Not
you're
at all.
working on that because it's really
Yeah.
important.
Yes,
Oh,
it
I
is.
know what it was. What about cybersecurity? Is that something that just works into this plan or no?
I don't think it would work into this plan,
Okay.
but we will look into it and it possibly could be added.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great. Thank you
absolutely.
very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Now. So Stephen, when are you coming back? Or when is somebody coming back to present? on it?
Probably, I would give it probably 6 months.
3 to 4? What are we now? Where are we now? May, June, July, August.
We'll just do an update.
Just an
we can do an
update, maybe
update.
September-ish?
Yeah, absolutely.
Pick a meeting and schedule it with Michelle.
All right.
Thank you.
Because we'll need an update by that time so we can start it into the budget process as well.
Yes.
Budget
In
will
the
be
fall.
coming right about there, yes, good thought. Awesome. Okay, we are on to Pride Month proclamation. I see Martha's name.
I'm here.
Hi, Martha, nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Welcome to the meeting. What are you gonna talk to us about today?
I just submitted, per your request, a proclamation for Pride Month. If that would be signed by the select board. I'm happy to read it, or Diane, if you want to read it, you did a great job last year.
Well, thank you. Maybe I'll ask one of these guys to read it. Anybody interested in reading
All
the
right.
proclamation?
Sure.
Go for it. You're up. Pete's gonna read it for us.
Great.
No, you're gonna read it now, Pete. The proclamation in the packet.
You turn to the page quick.
I don't have it. Sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Draft Pride Month proclamation, Town of Wenham. Whereas the Town of Wenham is a friendly, welcoming community that celebrates and promotes diversity and inclusion. Whereas the Town of Wenham is dedicated to fostering acceptance of all its residents, preventing discrimination and mistreatment based on sexual orientation or gender identity. And whereas in honor of the 1969 Stonewall Uprising and the subsequent First Pride March in New York City in June 1970, each June Americans come together to celebrate and honor the LGBTQ plus community. And whereas we celebrate and reflect upon the courage and accomplishments of the LGBTQ community who continue to fight to securing important rights and freedoms to live freely and authentically, often through struggle and adversity. And whereas the Town of Wenham recognizes the importance and contributions of members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning community. Therefore, the Town of Wenham proclaims that June 2023 shall be known as Pride Month.
That sounds wonderful. I could sign that.
Yeah,
We'll sign that. Before we go to a vote, Martha, do you have more to tell us about?
Right, so we're hoping that you'll all join us on June 1st, a week from Thursday. We're going to have an event on Town Hall lawn from 6 to 7:30 with a flag raising at 6:30. We've got participation from the First Church in Wenham, the museum, Nazir's, and the Wenham Tea House. So there'll be kids' activities. The Chiefs are bringing out some trucks and cars for the kids to climb on. There'll be some music and just overall a nice community meetup.
And would you like anyone to speak, or you have that all?
Love to have somebody speak. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide, and I just have it in the agenda as welcome from the select board.
Welcome from the select board. Okay.
You never know who's going to show up, so. I've invited our other elected reps too, but June 1st is a busy day for flag raising, so you never know.
Right. Very true.
do
Okay.
we mention a time for that?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 is when it starts, but the actual flag raising will be at 6:30.
Okay. I think we should take a vote to approve the proclamation.
I move that we accept the proclamation.
Second.
That was given to us from the Wenham Human Rights Committee. Yeah. Second, any more discussion? So we can put this up on the website?
We can.
Yes.
We can. Awesome. Vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. That's unanimous.
Thanks for your support, you guys.
Before you-
Appreciate it.
Before you go, I'm not sure if you're coming again before Juneteenth, but you're doing a Juneteenth. Oh, no, the Juneteenth event is in Hamilton. I'm sorry.
I am struggling and will come again with details. It's just that there have been a lot of scheduling things trying to get the two representatives from the two groups together to work out the details.
Okay. But it will be in Hamilton.
Mostly because most of the program is being done by the Juneteenth Association, so it just, we have just a few things to work out, and then I will definitely get you guys those details as soon as I have them.
Yeah, especially if you need us there to speak.
Right,
Or-
right. I would think that there would be a speaker from each town.
You would think?
I think so, but,
Okay.
it is the holiday. It's actually on, the actual holiday, so I don't know who will be around is the other thing.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
So who would like to do the welcoming at the Pride flag raising?
I'm not sure I'm here.
Okay,
Likewise, but,
okay, then I'll
no,
do it.
you got that one.
I'm on. That's me. All right. Mr. Town Administrator, tell us about the 375 migration. It's
Yep.
been so fun.
So we migrated we've been talking about it. We migrated off our Exchange server to O365 for a couple of reasons. Microsoft no longer supports the environment that the Exchange server was running, so that we didn't have any security updates, so we had to migrate to their new product, which is Outlook 365, hosted in the cloud, so essentially a web-based platform. And it also, the other reason was to be able to utilize the multi-factor authentication, which is, similar to, signing in with, like if you sign into your Google account or something, it will ask you for, your phone number, it'll text you a confirmation code, and it also wants a password. So it's basically there's a number of different ways, but they're signing in with two different authentication methods to secure our network even further. So we are now fully migrated. We're still working out some of the bugs. I wish, I hope to say it was 100% seamless, but it wasn't. But no IT, transition is. All in all, I'd say it went really well. I think Micro Support, who is our IT vendor that was leading the migration, was very responsive to the follow-up, any issues that we had. We still have a few lingering issues, but to say they've been very responsive and helpful through the process, so we're almost there. And once we feel that, and we're pretty close, but once we feel like we've got all the wrinkles ironed out, we're then going to start to implement the multi-factor authentication, because that will probably be another hiccup with folks having difficulty logging in and kind of struggling with the new process of how to log into their email and network and things like that.
That's great. I guess I lost a few emails over that weekend, but since then it's been fine.
I lost a couple files, folders.
Email folders?
Yeah. But,
We can see if we can take it.
I'm okay.
Okay. Sometimes it's all right to lose things. Until a month from now, you go, where is that information? Thank you very much. That's perfect. Let's talk about Bruce Lane and the letter that the Public Safety, DPW, and the Bucher School sent to the students, to the families,
To the
about
families,
driving.
Yeah. If you want to read it, I can read it.
It went out, it said it went out today, so it just went out today.
No, that
Yesterday.
was
May
Monday.
22nd.
Yep.
Monday, where the principal, Mr. Shurston, wrote, "Hi Bucher families, I'm reaching out today about Bruce Lane. It has come to my attention that while rushing to get kids to school on time or pick them up in the afternoon, families are speeding down Bruce Lane to get to Perkins Street for the entrance to the student drop-off and pickup. Bruce Lane is a residential street. It's fairly narrow and also houses a number of families with kids, former, current, and future Bucher students. Porter Street, the next block over, is a wider street with houses set back further from the road, and it has sidewalks. It will also get you to Perkins Street for the drop-off and pickup car lines. It's wonderful that we are nestled in a residential neighborhood. That's part of the Bucher's charm. I know we're all in a hurry, but let's make sure we're respecting the safety of our community and being good neighbors. If you approach Bucher from that side of town, either use Perkins Street or make sure you're not driving too fast on Bruce Lane. Thank you. Ben." So that's a sort of really nice letter. Could have been a little bit more strict, but that's okay. And they also changed the speed limit on those, on Bruce Lane, right?
Yep.
Did they put that?
They put the 25 mile per hour signage on both ends.
Highlighted too, right?
Highlighted,
Yeah,
yep.
Highlighted
Yep.
signs.
Yeah.
Point.
And that's, we spoke that perhaps the letter will be repeated at the opening in September too,
Yeah, we'll do a
Right.
reminder.
as we
Yeah.
kind of,
They should, yeah, you always need that kind of help. I think that's great. I hope that
hopefully solves the problem,
solves
people
the
slow
problems.
down.
Yep. Yep. All right. Key takeaways from the Climate Action Panel discussion that was held on May 4th. I think this is all you, Pete.
We have some slides we'll share.
We do have some slides.
Yep.
We have some slides. Just watching the cursor.
Here we go. All right, so as background, a number of us participated in the Zoom meeting at the end of April, sponsored by the Sierra Club of Mass. We have Bob Knowles with us. I think you were the one who's alerted us to that meeting.
It was either me or Vicky Massoni,
Right.
energy manager. Yep.
And Joe was on it. Steve, were you on it a little bit?
I didn't get a chance.
And then I think Eric Mansfield was on it as well. 55 towns participated. I now know that there are like 350 towns in Massachusetts, so it's
351.
and what they did is they had representatives from Brookline, Westboro, and Weston presenting what they did. So I have Brookline provided a summary chart. And so basically, notice this is from 2018, which is kind of funny, but. So you got strategies, strategy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, greater energy efficiency, increased renewable energy, improved transportation options, reduced waste, enhanced protected tree canopies and open space, and then lastly, adaptation and preparedness. What I will say about this is that all of these strategies and then actions will pretty much, can you go to the next slide, please? That most town departments would be affected. So this would be a significant commitment. You're really touching everybody. And it's not clear at all what the financial ramifications are. There's a number of things in there, like they want more permeable asphalt in different places to minimize runoff. Also, the best practice for developing and executing a climate action plan would require hiring a full-time sustainability coordinator, which could be shared with Hamilton. This FTE is not included in next year's budget, as Steve and I discussed. Given the levels of uncertainty, a path forward could be to reach out to a town like Weston to understand all the financial ramifications of their plan. We could also go to the Sierra Club of Mass and get some guidance as well. So assuming that it's not like completely out of the question, I think when we fully understood, put this up for a vote at town meeting next spring.
A vote to what? That we want
To develop a climate action plan and also hire a coordinator.
So that would mean add it to the budget next cycle in the fall.
Right.
Thoughts?
Can we flip back to the previous slide? So Wenham has been,
There is some of this we're doing.
has already had several of these underway, but certainly it's been a one project at a time as we could afford it or have the time available to do it kind of setup. So we ought to look at perhaps parallel to the master plan to bring this forward. And then the other question is, Vicky Masson is only budgeted, I think, at 7 hours a week.
For Wenham?
5.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
can't be the coordinator.
Yeah, she can't be the coordinator. So we need to expand the support staff within the town if we're going to undertake this, because there's really no capacity to pick up extra workload.
Correct, yeah. It's very important.
In the meantime, can we internally, as you say, gather information and perhaps come up with a priority list of what Wenham might be able to accomplish in the
Yeah, so
near
I
term?
think, I'm more than happy to follow up with Sierra Club Massachusetts and see if they can help us, like, okay, so this is who we are. And there are towns relatively close to our size. And when they did this, how much money did it cost? And how long did it take?
Right, because some of these, I know that we've done some of this,
Yeah.
and some of it is just not, you know, what's the best way to start? Where do you start? Because you can't do it all at once, obviously, it's gotta be a plan.
Well, what they said is that the best thing about hiring a sustainability coordinator, their first job should be to go out and get as many grants as possible. And then sort of get into program management, and then
Which in
try and
itself
show
is another
returns.
job. Grant writing takes up a lot of time too,
Right.
to look for the grants and apply for the grants. But that's the first step. Mr. Knowles,
Thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
201 Main Street,
can you
Wenham.
come to the microphone just so that they can hear you, anyone on Zoom?
Sure. So just quickly, so I'm a founding member of the Hamilton Wenham Climate Action Team and also a 12-year veteran of the solar industry, utility scale solar development. So I've been around the block a few times. I would just add, Peter, that I mean, it all looks great. It sounds great. I think that's an excellent idea to have this be a warrant article to hire a full-time coordinator. You know, it's to be determined what happens to Vicki Missoni's 5 hours a week that she does for Wenham, and then 5 hours a week that she does for Hamilton. The Hamilton-Wenham Regional School District decided after a fair amount of prodding from the cats that they would go it alone under the auspices of Hamilton and Wenham and the budget that's all-inclusive between the three entities. So filing for grants is more than a full-time job. And Vicki, with only 5 hours a week and consulting for literally 6 or 7 towns on the North Shore, in addition to running her own engineering firm in Salem, cannot physically apply to all the grants that are necessary. There is billions of dollars available through the state and the feds, especially with Maura Healey's administration, you know, in command now. There's going to be even more money available. So grant writing is a ton of work. And we're not doing enough, and we need to do more. So I'll stop there. The Climate Action Team is here to support you in any way we can.
So, you know what's really interesting? So first of all, if we get it to a vote in front of the town, you're no longer going to be sort of this group over here. Oh, no, the town is committed to what you've always wanted.
Right.
Secondly, grants. I'm going to sit in on a conference call at Tufts on the 24th. What's that, tomorrow? Holy smokes. And it's all talking about chat.
Chatbot?
No,
AI?
yeah. Because grants can easily be written by those. And it's going to completely change grant writing.
Automated, right.
It's going to be all automated. It'll go out and find them and then fill in the forms.
I don't know when that's going to happen, realistically. It won't happen next year, maybe in 5 years.
Do you want me to send you the info on this Tufts thing?
Please.
Because it's fascinating, because it's big what's going on, and a lot of people don't realize it, but their jobs are about to be made obsolete.
One last comment then, because I don't want to take up all your time and be respectful of your time tonight. But, I mean, the fleet electrification study that I think is funded by National Grid, that's one small piece of the puzzle, and one underlying huge piece of what we did with our zero carbon by 2040 was 100% electrification of the entire municipal fleet. Fire, gas, police, gas. Fire, no more gas, right? Fire and police and all the rest of it. EV school buses. The CEO of Highland Fleets, the largest EV school bus supplier in the country, lives in Hamilton, Duncan McIntyre. He should be listening right now. because we want him to electrify the bus fleet through Salter Beacon and that contract, 3-year contract, which would need to be a 10-year contract to enable the financing to make all this work, which is another warrant article that we would need to do in April in order to extend contracts out in order to make the financing work. I don't want to confuse you.
Yeah, just explain that part again.
Highland Fleet doesn't sell electric school buses to towns because they cost a lot of money. What they do is their business model is a leasing structure, a monthly or annual lease of an EV bus, which can actually be less than a fossil bus. So a lot of this depends on Salter Beacon buying into this, and Highland Fleets is already speaking with Salter Beacon for the last year or two about we need to electrify the bus fleet. There's a US EPA grant for about $1 billion, if not $2 billion, to make this all happen. So anyway, that's.
But we, as regional, they're not our buses.
It would be Salter Beacon, but the fossil buses are delivering kids to our school, all 5 schools. So that has to change, and it has to change by 2030. 2040 at the latest. All right, so I'll thank you for your time.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Okay.
So Mass State law says by 2030, all purchases have to be electric, and then our entire fleet has to be electric by 2040. I believe that's correct?
I believe that's
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
That's fire, police, that's all those
All-
vehicles?
Yeah, all vehicles.
Do they make a special size fire truck, electric fire truck, that's gonna
that's-
fit in our fire station?
I mean, that's today, I would expect
Yeah, I mean,
to be extended.
yeah, so,
You will expect.
you know, clearly, I mean, the passenger utility vehicles are gonna come first, because there's a much larger market, and then industry will move on to, you know, the specialized vehicles as we get close to the later deadline.
One last comment. Highland Fleets is also investigating doing that same 10-year leasing model for municipal vehicles, not just electric school buses. Fire engines, police cars, DPW, trucks. They're going to do the same model across the board, and they're already the largest supplier in the country with $200 million worth of equity and debt financing. So they're in it for the long haul.
Steve, you'd look really good in a Tesla Cybertruck.
Wow. All right.
Okay, so, and then I think I'm on the agenda again, right?
Are we done with the climate action plan? Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for your feedback. Audit review process. Do you have a slideshow?
I don't have a
for us,
slide. It's just,
Okay,
it's
so we're
pretty
gonna stop.
simple. Remember, I've only been on the select board for 1 year.
too? Okay.
So I don't know what was going on in terms of handling
Nothing.
audits previously. But I think what we need to do is not have the FinCom see the audit for the first time with us. So they should have time to go kick the tires themselves, and then when they feel that if there are actions warranted coming out of the audit, that then they come and with the auditor and have the auditor present to us, and then whatever changes or fixes need to be made, they can present it to us. I just want to avoid what we had the other day.
Which was a joint meeting where it got very financial, got very detailed, right?
Yeah.
So, not being the finance people of the town, I think we really expected a high-level, general overview. But the FinCom is looking for a more in-depth thing.
Well, and yeah, and they were getting into things, you know,
Off the audit.
in investment off it.
So your suggestion
office.
is that FinCom reviews the audit with the auditor on their own, and then we hear we have the auditor here twice?
So we don't hear the auditor twice. We don't have a joint meeting.
Right, okay, yep. We
And-
have the auditor here twice, is what I meant.
The audit, and
One
then.
for the FinCom, one for.
And so then the auditor presents to us, and FinCom gives us the so what.
Yeah,
So
so.
what?
So what, like what's
So
what's
the
gotta
auditor
change?
goes to the FinCom first,
Yep,
They hash out any issues and so forth. The FinCom should come back to the select board and say, this is our assessment of the audit, and at the same time, we would receive their input and the official audit report from the auditor.
So would we actually have the auditor present to us?
I check, but I think that is needed.
Yeah, well, it's not needed. I think that generally they do, well, they'll do really anything you want, but, you know, in some communities, it just, the review will just be given to the finance director, the town administrator, and then they give a very brief overview to their respective boards. And in some communities, they have them come out like what we were doing. I'm sure they would come out twice if that was the, you know, they had the appetite. Or it could be a simple review, you know, an in-depth or a granular review with the FinCom, and then Jamie and myself could update the select board, you know, at the level that they would be updated.
So
It was certainly, I mean, there's a bunch of variables, like I said, really any way you want to package it. I can't imagine him, Mr. Powers not wanting to, or not willing to come back twice. He's pretty flexible, especially with Zoom, if that was what you wanted.
The audit review, the audit committee that was used to be around was chair of the FinCom.
No, the audit committee didn't function because we didn't get public volunteers to be on the audit committee. So by default, it ended up being someone from the FinCom, someone from the select board, and one other. But that was felt to be kind of redundant in that it ended up being one member from the FinCom and one member from the select board receiving the audit and then turning around and supposedly giving it to their respective boards, but there was no guarantee that those members had any auditing expertise at all. So that's when we moved to the, let's go direct from the auditor to the respective boards in whole. And at the time, it looked like it, just for efficiency, we'd do it together, but clearly, you know, if there's issues coming up, then that's something that the FinCom ought to address first, and then separately come to the select board and say, this is our take on the audit report.
Okay, so who does the audit report come to? It come, like, when they're done with it, it comes to
Jamie.
Jamie, to the finance director. And so the finance director and the FinCom can meet, discuss, review with Mr. Powers if they want. I would assume that they would want. And then either Jamie or they could update the select board. Does that make sense? Is that what?
Yeah, that makes
That makes
sense.
sense.
So why don't we just sort of pencil that down and then send it to, I guess, to Jim and Deirdre and see what they think?
Okay.
Oh, the FinCom,
Yeah.
Jim, Purdy, and Deirdre, to see if that's acceptable.
We get them
to-
for like another 6 weeks,
Okay,
5 weeks.
okay. That makes sense to me. It started going a little bit more into the weeds than I was expecting myself, so. Okay. That sounds like a good plan, Pete. Oh, we have some policies. Discussion and potential vote to adopt the following policies. So we have 4 that have already been adopted by the select board, sent back to KP Law, and they've come back to us. So we should review them one more time, and then we have a new one in here, social media, that Joe and I had worked on. Assistant Joe. No green today? Come on.
Maybe if they win tonight.
All right. So, what's the best way to do this?
I read them. And the newest one was obviously social media.
Right.
So I had no issues.
I mean, they're awfully long to read, and they're in the packet, so they're in the
Yep.
public's hands and stuff.
Yeah, so this is the result of Joe's review, your review, Diane,
Mm-hmm.
comments that we've received, then final going to KP Law for review with all their legal edits and suggestions incorporated in them. So this is the result. This is the, you know, essentially the final document.
And so there was one question that I had before and I would like to vote on each one separately, just so that it's super clear. But there was one comment from KP Law that came in.
On the reporting procedure, number 6?
On the code of conduct.
Oh, code of conduct.
It was on the code of conduct. And it was in number 4, the last page, distribution education. The town clerk shall provide a copy of this policy and the town's policy against sexual harassment and other forms of unlawful harassment and anti-discrimination policies. Do we have a copy of the town's policy against sexual harassment and other forms of, or is that what this is?
Yeah, one of the
That is-
policies is the,
Yeah.
B.
Right, it's- it
B.
is.
Right,
Yeah,
these
so
are
I
like
don't-
the 4 core policies that will be distributed with the personnel handbook that is also,
Right.
should be before you in the next meeting or 2 cycle.
So the sign-offs are only on, there's only 2 sign-offs on the 4 policies, right?
I think it was three,
I think it was
So
3.
not equal opportunity. You sign off on sexual harassment,
there's no
and
accommodation.
there's no sign off on that one. And the code of conduct.
I
So,
think there should be a sign off for reasonable accommodation. I think that was the idea, I believe.
Yeah, the idea
Yeah.
is to have them actually all signed off on.
Right.
Yeah, the receipt, read, understand with the
so
person,
with
with the
the, so
handbook.
you're gonna sign out, you're gonna get a personnel handbook, you're gonna get these 4 base policies,
Mhm.
and you're gonna sign off on all 5 things
Mhm.
separately.
Well, it could be separately, I think it could be like a summary page.
A summary
that tests
page.
that you've read X,
I mean,
Y,
I'm just
and
thinking
Z.
of all the stuff we have to collect, and,
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I think that was, the idea was to come up with a package so that, just like you're saying, we're not chasing
Mhm.
50 people across 5 forms, it's, you know, with the one.
right, so it's all one,
It's one
with
packet,
the sign off towards
and,
the
you
end.
know, essentially one sign off, whether they have to initial each page, or however it makes it legally, you know, binding, we can
Okay.
do, but they're gonna exist together.
All right, so, let's go with the equal opportunity policy. Mr. Motions, who's Mr. Motions?
I move that we adopt the equal employment opportunity policy
As presented today.
as presented today.
Second?
Any discussion on that one? Vote,
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes.
I move to adopt the sexual harassment and other forms of unlawful harassment as presented today.
Second? I've got a comment coming up.
Yeah, discussion?
Yeah, so on section 6, the comment from council, and I think in other places that we've had these, that the executive authority has always been a reporting agency, so that a member of the public or whatever, just like everything else, would come to the select board, or the presentation in here, town administrator and so forth. So I would recommend that we include the select board as a reporting point as well, under 6, paragraph 1.
To members of the public who are not employees, who believe they have been subjected to harassment by an employee or other town representative may file a complaint with either the town administrator or assistant town administrator or member of the select board?
Yes,
Okay.
all right. And then one other just ministerial thing, we should strike Steve Willis's name there and
Right.
the position, and report it to, not an individual.
I agree with that.
All
Not
righty.
striking you, just so you know.
Saying I won't be here forever?
Yeah,
No.
you may be, you may be. So,
I move
mhm.
that we accept the sexual harassment and other forms of unlawful harassment as presented today and as amended today.
With 2 amendments, yes.
Second?
Any more discussion? Vote,
Yes.
Gary, yes?
Diane, yes. Did that make sense to you? Thank you.
I move to adopt the reasonable accommodations policy. Do we have to vote on this one?
Let's just vote on them all.
Okay.
Let's just, so it's clear, at
I
the bottom
move-
of them, let's say,
I move to adopt the reasonable accommodations policy as presented here today.
Second?
Discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. It's unanimous.
I move to adopt the Code of Conduct policy as presented here today.
Second?
Any discussion? Any further discussion?
No.
Nope. Vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. It's unanimous.
I move to adopt the social media policy as presented here today.
Second?
I thought we did pretty good, but I didn't reckon to see this comment. Could be more robust. Can I ask Joe? Joe, did you see the little comment they have on the introduction?
I'm sorry, which policy?
The social media?
Hey, if the comment is it could be more robust, I say we pass it now and make it more robust later.
These are, so this is, I'm not sure that comment's still there, but this is the draft that was made after, in response to that comment. So
Okay,
if that makes sense, we took the suggestions and incorporated what they had recommended.
perfect. Yeah, we did a good job on that policy. Yeah. Anyway, so you motioned, you
I
seconded.
move to adopt the social media policy as presented here today.
Second?
Any more discussion? Vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. That's unanimous as well. So again, the goal will be to have the personnel handbook, these 4 policies dispersed to all departments as soon as we get it, and then, and that's it.
It'll become a part of the onboarding
It'll be,
process.
right. But we'll get everybody that's already on.
Yeah.
I am told by town council that we should have the review handbook probably by the end of the week. So if we can go from there and.
Wow.
Sweet, let's try to squeeze that in on the 6th.
Okay.
By the end of next week or this? That's tomorrow. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is, I'm on the planning board schedule, sorry.
All right. Okay. What do we have about allowable vacation carryover? I think I'm throwing that to you.
Yeah, so, by policy, the allowable vacation carryover is 5 days. During the pandemic, the select board was more flexible on that policy. Again, it's 5 days, but the select board has the ability to kind of do what they want. They were more flexible during the pandemic. It's kind of come to my attention talking with the folks that, they accrued a decent amount of vacation time through the pandemic. So there exists, a decent bank, and, my request to the select board would be if we could kind of phase back into the 1 week and do 2 weeks. The request would be if the select board allow it at a maximum of a 2-week carryover this year to kind of acknowledge the larger than average vacation banks, and then kind of putting on notice that we'll be back to the 5-day maximum carryover next year. And plus it helps with scheduling because there's 5 weeks left in the year. And,
Right.
People don't want to be in a use it or lose it situation.
So we'll allow for up to 2 weeks carryover.
Yeah. Doesn't mean everyone's carrying over 2 weeks, but it's just
Right.
some people have requested,
So then, but then that,
me that they're afraid they're not gonna get a chance to take.
letting them know that, all right, you have these extra weeks.
Next year,
Plan
going
your
into
vacations
25,
properly, because going further, it's
Yeah.
just a 5-day.
that would be my request to the board.
5-day or 40 hours or whatever they,
Good
how
point.
does it work? Yeah,
40 hours for 40 hours for 40-hour employees, 36.5 for 36.
okay.
It's like Diane, I'm on vacation now, as you can tell.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his vacation shirt. A
It's
Hawaiian
a
shirt.
vacation shirt. Coming to hang out here in town hall, isn't
Like a
that nice
luau.
of you? I'm so honored.
So you
Any
shouldn't,
thoughts on that?
You're not looking for indigenous animal control opportunities?
No, not right now.
Okay, just checking.
Next week when he's back.
so we need a motion frame that I move that we allow vacation carryover in the amount of 80 hours.
Yeah, two,
Two work
Yeah.
weeks, 2 work weeks. Some people
Two.
work 40, some people work less.
yeah, however you
So
want
two
to put, yeah.
Well,
80 hours.
how is it measured? How's it being accounted for, by hours,
Well, it's,
isn't it?
it's measured in hours.
Right,
So 36.5 for 36.5 full-time and 40 hours for 40-hour full-time.
So I say we call that a work week. Isn't that their work week? Like if you work,
well,
Yeah, I mean, we could do, well, what's 30, hold on, what's 36?
I'm just thinking, if you say work week, then someone's gonna have to compute out who's doing what, whereas if you just make it simple hours,
So 73 and 80. 73 and 80 would be 2 work weeks. 73 hours plus 63 and
yeah, my
36.
question is, administratively on the paperwork,
Mhm.
is it easier for them to just know it's 80 hours they can carry over, or 2 weeks, terminology-wise?
some people don't have 80 hours.
80 hours of,
Some people don't get 80 hours. They only get 73.
that's right, but that's been accumulated over the last 3 years, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for ultimate clarity, if you want to reduce it to 73 hours and 80 hours. 73
Right,
hours
right.
if you're at 36.5, or 80 hours if you're.
Right, I move that
40.
the select board authorize vacation carryover in the amount of 73 hours or 80 hours, depending on the work week, and that notice be given that this will be the last year for carryover,
For addition,
for additional carryover
right, we go
beyond the
back to the,
standard
we go back
5
to the
days.
1 week.
Right.
The 1 week.
I'm fine.
There
You
was a
got that,
motion.
Catherine, okay? All right,
I'll second it. We didn't second it yet, right?
Nope.
Any more discussion on it?
Nope.
Want to vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes.
I don't think Kevin knows the appointments were done.
Yeah, no, I just noticed everybody's there, so.
And also the emergency, they might want,
I
they want to
know.
add something as well.
I know, I feel terrible, but, to all our public safety people that are out there, I can see your names, I can only see Kevin, but, we were super speedy today, and the whole hearing only took us 10 minutes, if that, so,
He can announce.
Okay.
If you want him to talk about the new hires and stuff.
okay, who, Kevin or Steve?
Kevin.
Kevin. So we've appointed everybody happily, but we would love to hear anything about our new people. Chief, if you're there.
I am here. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I'll be super quick. As everyone knows, Sergeant Machine retired in March, and that created an opening to replace his full-time position. We had a pretty extensive process, and we ended up looking at one of our internal candidates, Wes Isidoro. He's been a reserve officer for just about 10 years. And he did really well in the process. He did really well in the background. And we're super proud to have him on board. He's really paid his dues. He's been a great soldier these 10 years. Always has a smile on his face, always super positive, working hard. And I'm more than excited to have him as part of the full-time team. And as noted, he'll be starting on Monday, June 5th will be his effective first date. So I think Wes is on. I just want to congratulate him formally. I'm not sure, Wes, if you want to say a word or two if you are on.
Can you guys hear me? I'm having difficulties with the system here. I don't know if you guys can see me.
We can hear you,
See
Wes.
you, but we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I'm super excited. It's been an honor to be part of the team for this past 9 years and 7 months. And I'm super glad to move onto this new career, this new stepstone on my career with the Wenham Police, and keep giving the best of myself to protect and serve the community of Wenham.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wesley. Glad to have you.
Congratulations, Wes. And then moving forward, another few other things. We then, at town meeting, we were approved an additional full-time officer. And again, we had a real extensive process as part of the same process that Officer Zadora was involved in. We had a few different things going on, and we identified a real solid candidate, Tyler Solis, who I hope is on. Tyler is from North Andover. He works at the jail right now. He's been at the jail for a couple of years. He's got his bachelor's degree from Framingham State, and he did really well in the process. Again, he passed a thorough and extensive background, and I think Tyler's going to be a great fit and a great addition to the Wenham Police Department, and the deputy and I couldn't be more proud to get him on board. He's just been Johnny on the spot with everything we've asked of him during this hiring process. Anything we needed, he was right there, and he showed how much he really wants it. So needless to say, we're super excited to have Tyler on board. So Tyler, if you are on, we'd love you to say a quick hi and introduce yourself. If he is, if
I
not.
think I'm on now. You hear me okay?
There we go. We got you. Yep.
First Zoom meeting ever, so it's good to meet everyone. I'm very excited to be a part in this. It's a long time dream of mine. Paid my dues. I've now worked at the Sheriff's Department for a few years now. The entire time looking to be part of a team in law enforcement, and I was very happy to be able to be hired by Wenham. I'm excited, very, very excited. Beautiful town, and just feel very lucky to be part of the team.
That's great. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you.
Congrats, Tyler. And then if I could, to the board respectfully, we also have Chad LeBrie on. I'd just like to say a quick few words about Chad, because he was officially appointed tonight to start as sergeant, if that's okay. You all know Chad. You've seen his smiling face over at the town hall quite a bit. He's super visible in the community. He's just been an incredible part of this agency and making us who we are now and who we will be in the future. He's been a detective for a little while now. He's gone above and beyond in that position, working super hard, learning every day, and just giving it his very best as a field training officer. He's also been an inspiring leader amongst the newer, younger officers, training and teaching them to be better at their field. We had an incredibly difficult process, as you know, and we had 4 just absolutely awesome candidates. Any one of them could do this job, and Chad just presented himself well in that process. And he's been in town for a while, and he's a real part of this community, and he's going to be a big part of the future of the department. So I just want to congratulate Chad on the promotion to sergeant. And Chad, if you have a word or two to say, that'd be great.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. I can't say enough about the town. I've been with Wenham since 2005, full-time capacity for over 10 years now. I love working for the department. I love the people in town. If you've been to pretty much any voting at town hall, you've probably seen me there. Happy to greet everyone. I'm excited for the new guys coming on. Happy to train them. Looking forward to the future with them. And I'm excited for the promotion. Definitely glad the process is over. It was an extensive one, and it was a good one. But very thankful for the promotion, and you guys will obviously get the best of me going forward. So I appreciate you guys and the promotion. Thank you.
You're welcome, Chad. Great to see you.
Congratulations, Chad.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and the board as well for giving me the opportunity to just say a few words. I appreciate your support through the whole process, and I'm proud of these new hires and Chad moving forward. So thanks again.
You're very welcome. Thank you for presenting. Appreciate it. Okay. I'm lost on our schedule. Such a great agenda.
I think we're done.
We are so close. So, I don't know why it says old business, other matters that have not been reasonably anticipated by the chair. I do have something that kind of came up before we get to our consent agenda and close it up. There was an MMA webinar yesterday. Did you attend that? Is that how you know about it?
No, They've been in the area the last few weeks.
The first,
There was
we're
a
talking
Globe
about the
article
First
yesterday.
Amendment people have been around. And so there was something in the Boston Globe and the MMA and had a webinar. Lauren Goldberg speaks on this a lot. And one of the things that we have in town since the last time they came around were signs. Due to the presence of confidential information, only hallways and meeting rooms are public spaces. It's very true, but maybe we want to do a little bit more
Formal
permanent,
signage.
employees only, or, and I think that's all that you could say, is employees only.
Right, I mean, just to give the folks some background, so it's a group of individuals who are going around to municipalities and exercising their right to video in a public place. So if, in public you have no rights or expectation of rights to privacy. So they can, under, the freedoms that we have in this country, come into any public building and videotape and pretty much say whatever they want. So they use it as a way to, entice and instigate a response, sometimes aggressively, from public servants in an attempt to get them on camera, and then put your, if you were to respond with anger or aggressively, that's what they're trying to do. So they'll use name calling and to continue to instigate you to elicit a response. And without the proper signage, they can essentially, where it's a public building, they can follow you and continue the instigation into just about any room in town hall. So the only rights to protect our staff is to properly sign the building. So the hallways would be public space, but private offices could be deemed employees only. So, we're looking for essentially the select board to have a discussion, because they were here last summer. This group visited the town hall here. They were unable to elicit a response from anybody, so they left. But now they're back in the area, and we're anticipating another visit again, and would, probably like to more formally sign the building in appropriate places to give our staff, kind of a way out to shelter them from these groups.
So there's two aspects to this, both the protection of our own employees, and so that they're not directly confronted, and also the duty to protect our own documents, that personnel records, attorney-client privilege, and so forth. So the signage will set limits as to public access to those records that should be kept private or confidential, and at the same time, provide our employees a means or an area to, deflect.
So it doesn't really protect the documents, it would just be, documents would be stayed in private offices.
Right.
So once it's employee only,
Yeah, so
you can't get them.
it doesn't protect the
Right,
documents.
so
but
it just gives a sense of someplace to be able to not be right there, but they,
So do you need an actual motion to change signage in the town hall, or just?
I don't think so. I
don't think so.
think our plan was to just move forward with some employees only, the small
Right.
placards that you see buying in bulk. They're not much money, and just to appropriately sign. Police station is pretty well signed up, but if the fire station needs any, and the town.
Oh, I'm gonna invite them right in. I'm gonna give them an application for employment.
And
That's really the best way to deal to manage them, is to just
and
bring 'em in.
DPW and
Yeah, all town bill, yeah,
and
good
and
point.
some, we should need to talk to Kim at the library.
I was gonna say library COA.
Yes. Yep, library and COA, good point.
COA,
Because there was an incident, that was the one that was on the Boston Globe, I think they talked about, it was in the
Yeah.
library.
It was.
Yeah, so they're just there to get a rise out of people and see what they can do. It's like entertainment to them.
And then they get money off views off YouTube, so the bigger reaction, the more money. they
Yeah,
get.
so that's a hard one, because they came to Manchester and actually got a reaction, and we ended up on YouTube, and so then everyone's showing everybody we know, look at what happened in Manchester. We're like, oh, stop watching the video, but everyone wanted to see it. So it was, yeah. So, okay. Any other business? I don't have any other business that came to me after that time. So we have a consent agenda.
All right, I move that the board accept the open meeting of April 28th, 2023 minutes and executive session of May 9th, 2023 minutes.
Second.
Any discussion?
Question, are those executive session minutes released or not?
I say, accepted and released.
Right.
Yeah. Are you
Second.
seconded? Any vote? Any discussion? No vote?
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. All right, quickly, our next meeting is June 6th. Is that correct?
Memorial Day first, though,
We have Memorial Day,
and 1st June.
and we have June 1st, and then we have June 6th,
All right.
and June 20th.
Those are attendance. We're attending.
Memorial Day,
Yeah?
you're gonna read the proclamation,
Oh, I am. That's
right?
right.
That's right. I'll introduce Jerry. At Pride, at June 1st, I'll welcome whoever's there, and then, is Officer Lucatoni still on there? It's face paint day. Deputy.
I'll be,
Oh.
yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Just check.
Sorry, I'm having video problems, but I will be there.
Okay, I know you will. And that's it. And so with nothing further,
I move that we adjourn at 8:32?
no.
7:30.
7:32, sorry.
Second.
Second. No discussion, let's vote.
Gary, yes?
Peter, yes.
Diane, yes. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for people in person. Love it.
Thank you.
H, turn your camera off?